Hey folks, this is Kelani. Now that patch 7.3 is finally on live servers, it's even easier to catch up on any alts you may have been neglecting. I've got 8 easy to follow steps that will get any alt you have shipshape and ready to party. So, I'm going to assume you're level 110, whether it's a character you've had maxed for a while or a fresh 110 character. We won't be covering leveling, but I hear invasions are still pretty good experience for how much effort you put in. The first thing you'll want to do is check out your artifact knowledge. Thankfully, artifact knowledge is automatically granted to every 110 character. You'll get brought all the way up to above AK40 as soon as you ding, so there's no grinding anymore, no work orders, no checking back every 4 hours, no wasting resources. It's all automatic. That means you also don't have to worry about getting higher artifact knowledge, as it will just increase every week. So that's one step we basically don't have to do anymore. But there's one more. Check out your weapon and relic slots. Your third relic slot is now given to you for free, which means you don't have to wait until you complete your class whole campaign, so we're just straight into the action. Now, while there's a few things done for us, we still have to go through the class hall upgrades. A few of these are still way too valuable to pass over. You'll need to work your way down to the equip 2 legendaries upgrade for sure, and you could arguably stop there, but there's no reason to not pick up the last two. Having that extra follower can be really important when you want to have a bodyguard, but also want to do as many missions as possible, and the free AP from the bottom one is always nice to have. While you do have to farm up some resources to unlock all of these upgrades, it does cost a little less than it did previously, and it's also a little faster. While we're on the topic of getting your class haul all ready to go, you should stop by the Broken Shore and spend a few nether shards on the relinquished armor sets available from the nether shard vendor. These armor sets cost 400 nether shards and are for your followers, and will increase their item level straight up to 880, which is just 20 off of the old cap, meaning you're pretty much caught up without having to do all the waiting and praying and grinding. From there it should be a breeze getting your followers up to 900, seeing as there'll already be a high enough item level to complete most of the missions available to you. If you're not on an alt and you're actually needing these as a main character, you should be able to get enough nether shards from the invasions that are still active on the Broken Shore. If you have a main with plenty of nether shards to spare, then you're in luck, as these follower items are bound on account, so you can send them from your main over to your alt and never have to do any invasions ever again. There's also a follower experience item which will instantly grant your followers 6,000 experience, but that is much pricier at 2,500 nether shards and isn't bound on account, which makes it kind of useless in my opinion, but it might be something of interest if you absolutely have to get your followers that extra 6k experience for whatever reason. Now, if you don't have access to the Broken Shore because you haven't completed the intro quests for it, you should definitely get that done if this is your first character. If you've already done the introduction on one character, you can happily skip the introduction and just go straight to the Broken Shore. Getting at least this far is actually required before you can start all of the fun adventuring on Argus. That might be a bug, but if you don't get the automatic pop-up for the Argus quests, this might be the reason why. Go talk to Khadgar, skip the whole scenario, and you should be golden. You don't actually have to complete any of the extra campaign on the Broken Shore, but that doesn't mean it's a bad idea to get some of it done. If you're interested in picking up your alt's class mount, then you'll have to complete all of the Broken Shore campaign. If the mount doesn't interest you, you can also pick up one additional follower as well as another champion slot from one of the early quests, so I would definitely recommend at least doing those quests. Now that that's out of the way, you can freely move on to Argus without having to worry about going back to finish up old quests. As you progress through Argus, you unlock a bunch of awesome abilities for the Vindicar, which you can use to make light work of anything that might challenge you on an undergeared alt. Pesky monsters in the way? Blast them to pieces. Need to kill a rare and nobody to help? The light-forged warframe that we eventually unlock will tear through anything in your path. You also need to progress through the story quests to unlock the world quests on Argus, which play a huge part in catching up with gear. Progressing through Argus also unlocks all of the flight path beacons, which are really important for getting around Argus, as we can't fly here just yet. As you progress through the quests, you'll also unlock Argus-related class hall missions, which allow you to upgrade your followers further, and they even have some catch-up stuff in there too. You can get missions which reward items that bump your followers' item levels all the way up to 900, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for those. So, when it comes to gear and catching up, you have quite a few options before you. I would make sure you still keep an eye on the Broken Isles world quests, especially the Warden Tower PvP world quests. Some of them reward 880 plus gear quite frequently, and even if it's not quite 880, I'm sure the gear can still help fill gaps in your current equipment. Any leftover nether shards should probably be spent on the Dauntless tokens available from the Broken Shore vendor, just to give you a head start. Any Argus world quests you get should be getting done anyway, but if you have a time limit and have to pick and choose, make sure you get the gear ones done first so you can make good use of the rewards, which can scale all the way up to 895. Honestly, you could just stop here and have a decently geared alt, but if you want to go one step further, you can farm for Veiled Argonite on Argus to purchase the new 910 gear tokens. The main sources of Argonite are the rares and chests which spawn on Argus and have a daily loot limit, meaning you're going to have to be on Argus and hunting around for both rares and chests every day. That can get quite time intensive, but you can also just complete the weekly quest which awards Argonite and make sure you look out for any world quests which award Argonite and get those done too. Even if you're limited with time, you should be able to get a couple of 910 tokens every week. If you enjoy PvP, or can stand it enough to get through some arena wins, you can also do 2v2 or 3v3 arena each week, which will award you a decent piece of gear depending on your ranking. It's not something I tend to bother with, but if you're into PvP, it's always an option on the table. With it being so easy to acquire high item level gear, you should be raid ready much sooner than would have been possible in previous expansions and patches. That means you can take your alts into Heroic Tomb of Sargeras pretty easily if you get lucky with world quests and Argonite tokens. From there, it's pretty much the same as it's always been. Hop into whatever raids you can to try and grab some shiny loots, and if you don't get anything, better luck next week. It's also still pretty important to get your weekly Mythic Plus done. Currently the rewards cap out at a Mythic Plus 10 key, which awards 915 gear in the dungeon and 935 gear from the weekly chest. If you're interested in alternative gearing methods or ways to supplement your gearing, you can always turn to BOEs and crafted gear. The 900 crafted gear can still be somewhat useful, but in my opinion is far too expensive for what you get when you consider you can very easily get gear from world quests on Argus and better gear from gear tokens. Any Tomb of Sargeras BOEs can still be useful if you really want to spend the gold, but again most of them are outshined by easier sources of gear, especially when you take their price into consideration. One source of gear I would recommend looking into is the new crafted gear, which starts at 885 and can be upgraded with Primal Obliterum to 935. It's going to cost you a pretty penny, but 935 gear is very hard to come by if you're not a Mythic Raider. Sadly, it's only for 2 slots. Head and one other depending on your armor profession, but having easy to acquire 935 gear in any slot is pretty awesome when you're trying to gear up fast. One thing you should definitely keep an eye out for is the new Unsullied gear tokens. These can drop from rares and chests and a variety of other sources on Argus and are actually bind on account. They create item level 880 gear and drop for a random armor type, so even if you're a plate wearer running around killing rares, you can still get cloth, leather or mail tokens. Obviously this isn't restricted to just doing work on your alts, but you should keep any Unsullied gear tokens you come across. Who knows, you may want to gear up something else very quickly someday and those tokens will be a godsend. So, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or hop on over to Discord. We have a server at discord.gg/Kelani. Great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.